La for, hit for none. All the time, la for, hit for none. For Islam stand for peace. La for, hit for none. For Islam stand for peace.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. We begin everything in the name of God, the most gracious and ever merciful. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. May the peace and blessings of God be upon us all. You are welcome to MTA International Africa. This program is coming to you from Wahab Adam Studios in Accra, Ghana. This is Real Talk Africa, where we discuss issues, normally social issues, that would have impact on every one of us. Now today we are in a series of programs about social media and their impacts on our lives in diverse ways. Today we are discussing social media's impact on politics. Yes, politics. With me in the studio to do the discussions are honorable men, some very three honored, gallant young men. On the far end is Maulvi Salim Ahmed Kilson. Maulvi Sab, you are welcome. Alaikum salam wa rahmatullah, which means may the peace of God, peace and blessings of God be on you. Next to him is Abdul Hadi Kilson, who is a lawyer and also the Deputy General Secretary of the Ahmadi Youth Association here in Ghana. Lawyer, you're welcome.
Thank you.
And next to lawyer Abdul Hadi is another learned fellow, Kekeli Jekete. Lawyer, you're welcome.
Thank you so much.
All right, so today they would help us with the discussions, and as I said, it is about politics. Politics, as we know, people are using it against some people, and people are using it for some people. Different forms of politics are there. Some are playing very, very dirty politics, and some are quite gentle in their dealings with the people. But whatever happens, they're looking for power through different forms or through different means. So first, I would go to Maulvi Salim to help us with the forms of social media, which is widely used for political and governance purposes, and why. As he gathers his thoughts, I would introduce us all to our studio audience. We have people with us. Since this is a social program, social media and social program, we have people in the audience here with us. Very, very nice looking men who are here with us to share knowledge and also for us all to learn, for us to also share experiences together. So Maulvi Salim, please, could you help us with the question?
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Like you rightly said, social media plays a major role in politics. And then right from its genesis, they've made us understand that it is a very easy way of communication. So therefore, whoever that wants to use social media as a tool to disseminate its message or their message to their audience will use the very easy ones, the very accessible ones that people frequently use. These are some of the platforms that political organizations or groups often use to send down messages to their people or the audience so they get them. I would like to use this opportunity to also state this fact that in the Holy Quran it is said there in Surah Al-Takwir that وَإِذَا النُّفُوسُ زُوِّجَتْ, that a time will come in the latter days when the Messiah would come. One of the signs that is going to manifest is that there will be something called globalization. There will be that mutual relationship amongst people, irrespective of their geographical background. So therefore, social media comes out to let's say, makes us understand that this is a manifestation of that very statement that was mentioned in the Holy Quran. Because I'll be here in Ghana, I'll be able to communicate easily with someone in a different country, and then it's very easy for us to do that. So I think that these are some of the reasons why politicians would like to use social media as a tool or a medium or platform to send their messages to their audience.
All right, thank you very much for the very, very insightful answer. Next to Kekeli, I would like to ask, do you think social media's impact on politics gives power to the politicians or rather to the people? Whatever view you hold, you tell us why too.
Yes, please. Thank you so much, first of all, for having me. I think when it comes to the conversation around who gets greater power, people often think of the fact that everybody has access to social media. So you would say that, oh, it would give greater power to the people. But for me, when I think about it, I think about the role that inequality plays in our country. As a result of wealth inequality, there's a situation where there's also limited access to technology, right? And there's even limited access to the very spaces that talk about the depths of the politics that you want to hear and understand. Now, because of this same wealth inequality means that the said politicians or individuals who seek political power tend to have more resources to invest greater in social media. They can use this to spread false news. They can use this to spread propaganda. They can use this to spread any form of exaggeration that they want in any way. They can pay for bots. They can pay for influencers. They can do whatever they want. So I think personally that it's become a very great tool for politicians to sway public opinion in a particular way. So for me, I think it gives greater political power to those who seek political office than it does for the ordinary Ghanaian. Thank you.
I think with getting the politicians making use of this, we can tell from past incidents in the US where they use the social media to gather people for them to march on the White House. Yes. And this is a typical listen of what you're saying. Anyway, so Esquire had this up. A more serious note to social media involvement, the involvement of social media of a political candidate, would it be a criterion for voting for that person or not?
Okay, thank you very much, and greetings to our cherished viewers. I think that it is not clearly stated, because we mentioned criterion. These are the things that you need to satisfy to qualify you to be elected. I mean, if you have to look at it from a very legal perspective, then this would not come up. However, there is the political culture, which is not stated in any book. It's more of a convention, what people consider as requirements. And it is also very subjective, depending on who is looking at it. But if you're looking at it from the perspective of the politician, the one seeking an office, your goal is to be elected by as many people as possible. It means you need to reach out to a lot of people. Now, we have understood the impact of social media, that it creates that avenue to reach out to many people. So the distances you would have covered by road or by air would be covered through social media. So as possible as it can be for you to get yourself and your information out there, the good or the better it would be for your campaign. So as a politician, if you are telling people that you have the track record, social media is the evidence. So I have built this school, I'm helping with the construction of a school, of a borehole. Now you put pictures out there, people will not just believe what you're saying, or the delusion as you'd say, but there's a fact, there's evidence, there's pictures to show that I've done this, I've been here. Now I'm a people's person because I visited a children's home and the children were hugging me. I was on the streets, people, and I want to use Peter Obi in Nigeria. There's a picture where he was in his vehicle waving, and there was one guy on the street opening his hand. Yeah. That picture trended more than anything, and it made him quite popular, just to show that he was a man of the people, and then he had the streets behind him. So these things really count. Your social media presence really is a factor.
So this as politics is a game of numbers, as some people say. But whatever it is, some also take to social media, some of these politicians, and they make some comments, some good, some bad, whatever it is. What are the impact on some of these comments made by these political figures on social media? This can be tackled by any one of you.
I think we have a bit of a problem where a lot of people are not used to going to fact check what is being said. Okay. So they are very willing to take the message or the statement as has been said and being incredibly fine with it. So you would find that a politician would say something, and the same way I also don't want to mention specific instances of things, but you would find that a politician would say something that is either so out of the realm of logic, or you would find someone say something that is blatantly untrue. So you see how you mentioned the pictures. There was a point where someone posted a picture of a field as being part of the astroturfs that were being built by a government. And somebody showed that the field is actually a university in Virginia. That's because it's a baseball field. Nobody plays baseball in Accra. Okay. You get it? But because they are able to post these things and people are not willing to investigate beyond what is being said, we have that kind of problem where they can say anything, people will defend it. They may lie, people will defend it. And even with media personnel are willing to just report the official statement and not go beyond the official statements for us to understand what actually happened on the ground, right? So I do think that as a tool, it does pose that form of danger for us, especially as a people who are not so far advanced in investigating and understanding the logic of things and the way these things work. I do think it poses a bit of a significant danger to us, and that politicians using them for these tools, although immoral, I do think they are getting their way either ways.
So could there be, or would it be right to say that we as the general population of a country, we are also helping somehow in this?
Yes, I do think to an extent we are, but there's also the conversation around the fact that how limited are individuals, right? In that, I feel if you have a population that is significantly illiterate, right? If you have and literacy for me, at least, it goes beyond being able to read and write. The technical definition for literacy is read and write. But when I use literacy in this context, I mean being able to understand the logic behind certain things. When you have such a population, I think it's hard to say that it's somebody's fault that you are illiterate, right? People come from circumstances, people come from different points. So that part too is there to understand. But I do think to a large extent, we do assist these individuals. Some people also assist them because they believe they'll benefit from it. That's the fact of the matter. Some people are stooges. Some people are what they call party boys. Yeah. That they ask for them, no matter
soldiers.
Yes, no matter how far the logic is, they'll go and take it and bring it to you, right? And you would read it and you would honestly wonder if it is that I've given you the impression that I can't think or something. But that's a different conversation. So I do think there's a danger in that regard.
Yeah. So this the issue of fake news and mis or disinformation, how has the impact of this been on politics in general and the social media? Yes,
let's take this case study for example. During the COVID period, we can remember, if we can clearly remember, there was an instance whereby a sitting president, publicly made a statement prescribing a particular medicine as a remedy for this very pandemic. And then at the end of the day, it's caused some problems medically for a lot of people. Then later on, he had to come back and then reaffirm what he was saying and correct a few things. So you see, misinformation is something very, very crucial that we should always consider when we are sending out messages. So in the political perspective, we can see that there are a few instances that people have suffered physically as a result of misinformation.
Just so that we are not misunderstood. Yeah. Please clarify the president you made mention of, you referred to.
Okay. It was the sitting president at the time of the United States of America.
Of United States of America.
Donald
Who is
Trump.
Donald J. Trump. Yeah. Okay. I would have also loved you to take it from a religious perspective, since a number of us in the country are, in a way, we subscribe to a religion or the other. Yeah. Religiously, how would this mis or disinformation, what are the effects of it?
I can say that in the spectrum of religion, it is very, very devastating if we allow such issues to gain roots in the system. Because Allah Almighty Himself in Surah Al-Ahzab made mention of this, that's لَإِلَّا يَنْتَهِ الْمُنَافِقُونَ وَالَّذِينَ فِي قُلُوبِهِمْ مَرَضٌ وَالْمُرْجِفُونَ فِي الْأَرْضِ. So Allah Almighty told the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam here that he should ensure that such kind of people who are hypocrites, people who have doubts in their hearts, people who always send fake news or rumors around, he should ensure that such kind of people should stop, or he should be able to curb that issue, or else these people won't be even neighbors to him. They would rather cause confusion in the societies. So we have instances like the Battle of Jamal, or the Camel. That was a battle between Hazrat Aisha and Hazrat Ali. And the history makes us understand that this was a battle that wasn't fought in reality. Hazrat Muslim Maud radiallahu anhu has made us understand that they didn't fight.
Let me clarify
Sure.
something small.
Okay.
Hazrat Muslim Maud, I would want the audience to know who you're
Who he
referring
is,
to.
okay.
He's the second caliph
sure.
of this Ahmadiyya community.
Uh-huh.
We are now on the 5th caliphate.
Yeah.
So the second one, that is his title. His name is Mirza Bashiruddin Mahmud Ahmed. Okay, please carry on.
Radiallahu anhu. So he made us understand that really there was nothing like a battle. They were able to reconcile the issue. But then there were people behind who were putting up strings. They were pushing for the fight to really come on. But then they were able to reconcile the issue. After that, they managed to also create that confusion again, rekindle the issue, and then bleed the wounds again for that battle between Hazrat Muawiyah and then Hazrat Ali. And it's all as a result of misinformation. So the people who were really fighting didn't really know what they were doing. The details of it shows that when Hazrat Ali finally agreed that, come, let's sit down, I would retaliate. I would ensure that we investigate into the matter. Who killed Hazrat Osman? These people who were pushing that Hazrat Muawiyah should be punished said, "Inil hukmu illa lillah," that it is only Allah who can judge. The Khalifa, who is the leader of the Muslims, can't judge anyone. These are the same people who were pushing that someone should be punished because he went against the leadership. So you can see who are really, the reality of the fact is that these are the people who were going here and there, causing the confusion. So Islam has suffered really by losing its leadership as a result of misinformation. So these are some of the instances I can give.
It also brings to mind what a friend of mine said, that he doesn't listen to news. He reads news. The reason he says that is when people speak, they add emotions. So whatever his political affiliation, he would add some sort of emotions, especially in our space where we have a lot of unprofessionalism. So you get some comments, which is not part of the main news, but being passed, jokingly or however, but it has influence on other people. Now, Lawyer Hadi, please, how have political leaders and politicians used social media to connect with voters and supporters?
Okay. So I think, as I mentioned earlier, it gives you access to a lot of numbers. Yes. So for a politician, your goal is to win the election. Your goal is to win with the highest votes. Because once you don't have the votes, you are not winning. And with social media, now they organize polls prior to elections just to assess the candidate. So for a politician, once seeking an office, then that gives you some sort of information as to the progress of your campaign. Once you are at the bottom of the polls, you know that you need to work hard. And with social media, you don't even know the people for them to give you a biased opinion. It can be very honest that they are not seeing the work you are doing, or it can also be very biased because they belong to your opponent. Either way, it is information with which you can work. So social media gives politicians that avenue to really assess themselves, because you get to hear from the others, and it also gives you information about your opponent, because now their supporters will be out there saying things. This is from a very political perspective. You're able to gather information about your opponent, because as you are reaching out to the masses, it's the same platform. For example, Facebook. Now you post your videos, your opponent also posts his own. You go and see the number of likes. Oh, a lot of people are liking his pictures. Why aren't so many people liking mine? What is he doing different? So from the optics, you can take decisions, and also then you go back to your drawing board and then you do your assessment. In connection with the voters, there are so many appeals people make when it comes to politics. Appeal to conscience, appeal to emotions. There are some people who are the intellectual people, so you need to appeal to their intellect. You need to put out some information. So politicians would have people who write their scripts. they will post a picture and add some quotes that would suggest that they are intelligent. So now he has appealed to you, oh, I like this information he's putting up. But meanwhile, it was someone from his PR team that wrote it. Now we have appeal to emotions. He will take a very empathetic picture, go to the market and take a video with the market women, hugging him. Then at the end of the day, oh, he's a man of the people. So for a politician, it is a very great tool. Social media is a great tool. Yes, it makes them relatable because you may not have the opportunity to communicate physically. And also under the comment section, you realize that they interact. Oh, there's a comment. They will make time to respond because there are so many politicians on X that engage. They are even invited to X spaces, so you get the opportunity to talk to him. Ordinarily, you send a message and his PA has not seen it, so it hasn't got into him. Because someone is managing the social media account. Yeah. But you get the platform to interact with him, ask him all the questions you need.
Anyway, we know the conventional politics style here, campaign style here. We will talk more of how social media plays into this. But prior to that, let me go to my audience and ask them their view on the whole thing. Politics and social media in our country here. How is it? How do you see it? Anyone who has any submission to make? Please go ahead. You introduce yourself and then you go ahead with it.
Assalamu alaikum.
Islam.
My name is John Abdurrahman. I quite remember one of the general elections. One MP, one person aspiring for a member of parliament for one of these constituencies actually texted me. I was like, "Oh, how are you doing? How are things in school and all that?" After the voting ended, that was it. So yes.
So after election, no campaign.
Exactly. So they would, I would say in this, so long as I get what I want, I'll do everything that's needed. But after that, that's where the problem is, and that's where people would also want you listening to them, so that you can actually help them in what the people want, not what you want.
So we should rather use the social media. This platform to listen to the people so that we know what they want and not what just you want to do. Okay, I think my brother has something to say.
Social media has actually come to revolutionize campaign.
Okay.
Before then, we will not get to even hear of what our MPs do. But this time around, because of social media, whatever they do, they bring it out. At first, we only get to hear of campaign when it's getting closer to election periods. But this time, it's all year round. Every day, you get to hear of what your MP is doing. So if your MP is not doing anything, you know. When he's doing something, you know. So it also gives you an information or an idea about where you actually cast your vote to. Okay. It gives us an information about whoever wants to stand for an MP in your constituency. So social media has helped us in so many ways, giving us information about the individual and whatever they do. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. I said we were going to discuss how politics, how campaigns are run and the outcome of it with the social media in place now. Before that, let me read some few comments. They are also in relation to this, so that someone, his name is Blessing Mombeshura Senior, says, social media is changing politics in Africa. The new generation will never be fooled. Considering all these things, and these comments are from the youth, is it this social media campaign that probably looks like it is really making an impact, changing people or making them see them that they are working? Is it actually working? Like, when you come, does it affect the change of our African president in parliament, in governance? Does it have any effect on it?
Should I take it? Oh, okay. So I would say that if you take it to the grand scheme of changing who is voted, then no, I don't think social media, at least in this part of the world. Social media has not
For
reached
now.
the point where, yes, it hasn't reached the point where it can effect a change of power in the first place. Because the social media statistics, even internet connectivity, not that many people are connected to the internet in the country. Not that many people have electricity in the country, right? The majority does, but not that still. There's still quite a number that does not have. So I don't think it does, but I do think that when we think of social media and its influence in politics, it's not really necessary for us to go all the way up to changing precedents. Okay. There are the little things that can happen. That would be a very big deal for the people who are there. So for example, the Tema Library. A very good example, the Tema Library. The Tema Library is one of the best, the whole controversy is one of the best examples of citizen journalism you will find in this country.
Background to so that
it's been in the news recently that there have been contractors who have come to the library at, I think it's Community 5, behind Tamasco, that there's a public library there that has been used for a while. It sits on a public park that is also used by individuals. And all of a sudden, before all the residents noticed was that there are contractors there, they are digging pits. Clearly, they're about to lay a foundation, which implies that the land has been sold, right? So they raise the hue and cry, they start everything, and then it creates a situation where now traditional media takes it up, and traditional media starts calling authorities. So TDC comes on the line. So TDC is the Tema Development, I think they're a corporation now, right? TDC comes, they say, oh, no, it's not us. It's TMA. And the TMA says, oh, in fact, it's actually Tema West, right? Now there's accountability. And the individuals who started, they didn't stop there. They still go there to record. And I saw a video once of one of them there recording, and the person allegedly whom the land had been sold to was trying to fight him, that he's not allowed. They said, no, it's a public place. I'm allowed to, right? So when we think about social media in the grand scheme of changing precedents, I don't think we are doing ourselves a great service. But when we think of the small things, for example, I live in the Teshinungwe Estates. Our roads were deplorable. Some parts still are, for a very long time. Then there was news of a demonstration. Would you believe the day before the demonstration, they started fixing the roads? The day before, and that demonstration started on social media. People, they put around stickers and flyers and all that, but fundamentally, it started because of social media and people got to know about it, right? So I think the effect of social media on political power, it requires us to have a more nuanced view to it, to look at the different aspects of what is going on and how it affects everything. Maybe one day social media will help us change an MP. Maybe one day social media will help us change a president. We live to see that day. But I think if we even think about the very small parts of our democratic process, even election reporting, when they carry your ballot box away, you can report it so that we see that they are carrying your ballot box. And that is a good place to start, in my opinion. Yeah.
So all in all, I'm getting that all these realizations and this thing coming to us is a good thing. If we learn how to access and use it well, we would reap a lot of benefits. That's nice. From the comments, and also, Movisa, from your take of political influence, or maybe social media's influence on politics actually, how would you say that it plays a role on maybe a change of governance? He thinks that in the grand scheme of things, it can't do much, but the small drops can actually make some change, and he gave an example. What's your view on that?
My view is on the fact that, you see, first of all, we should be empowered as a people, because that is where the problem really lies, that if we are empowered, if any content comes on social media from any organization or any group, we'll be able to probe into it, assess and know that, okay, this is something, okay, this is not right. Then we take our judgment. But then, most of us are not really empowered. We don't really know how things are being run there. So therefore, whatever that comes, we embrace. There is a saying, adage in Arabic, that لَيْسَ الْخَبَرُ كَالْمُعَايَنَةِ, that real news or information is what you've seen with your eye. Why? Because people can say anything and they can make you believe. Because this ear that we see is very sweet. When it's listening to something sweet, it's really accepted. Without even seeing the physical features of it or something like that. So That is what we should do as a people. But when we're able to do that, then we can come to that conversation of if it can really factor and then cause that change that we seek to get. I can also make reference to the fact that in the 1930s, Hazrat Muslim Maud, when the Jamaat was being persecuted, instructed that Ahmadis should get photo cameras. Those who have the money should import. Those who have access to it should also use them, so that we'll use that as an evidence. Nobody should react either verbally or physically. Then maybe a day will come, we'll be able to say something and then speak out our voices on the issues that are going on. So this, fast forward to our current era, is something that we can use, and then right now it's happening. As he's making reference to the fact that a lot of MPs are not working. If we are able to take records through social media, when the time comes for campaign, and you come and start there and talk sugarcoat issues, we will be able to give you evidences of the fact that, my friend, you didn't perform. So therefore, what guarantees the fact that if we give you the chance, you'll be able to do more the next time?
That's nice. The gentleman made a point that the African youth cannot be influenced, would not be fooled again, because we now see some things. Lawyer Hadisa, what do you think about this statement? Because it's a two-way street. That statement, it looks like social media is kind of being used also to, in quote, fool some other people, and it also enlightens some. So how do you juxtapose this?
It's very debatable.
Okay.
And I want to start from the point of the politician. If you look at the pictures they use for their flights,
The antics.
yes, it is very organized, and every holiday, every occasion, you receive a quote from a politician. When it is Eid, even the non-Muslims will dress in the apparel, just because, you see, that is how you do it. Once the message comes from a non-Muslim, a politician, your leader cares about you, and he will visit you, come and join you to pray. Solidarity, ordinarily, that is how it is. But you see, the way the politics has become, people will only do it just to secure the votes. And I think my brother was mentioning it, that so long as it helps them, right, referencing student politics, they will stay in touch just to gather the votes and all of that. Yes. And then after that, they're okay. I want to refer you to, there's this journal I came across some time ago, the African Report. That in that edition, they were talking about social media and political accountability. And the editor, that was so the editorial, that was the editor-in-chief, he said that Africa is now catching up with the use of technology in politics. I was very heartbroken because as far as I was concerned, as a young person, anytime I want trending information, I go to X, at the time it was Twitter, and I'll hear what is happening. I can even follow political issues from the US and other countries. So I thought we had come far, and he said we're now catching up. So as far as politics and accountability is concerned, we haven't really embraced it, but I think we are making progress. And a typical example is after the protest, the most recent protest on the 21st, when they were fixing the country, yes, they used a certain the Julobi that is not very welcomed by a lot of people. One of the issues that they spoke about is the state of the motorway. Right after the protest, there were so many social media engagements. And the next thing we saw, there was a communique that plans have been made to fix on the motorway. Yes. So you see, had that protest not come, this information would not have been known.
That protest was basically organized by social media, like through
social media. Yes, and a lot of people, even various versions of it were organized in different parts of the world. The Ghanaians in different parts of the country also hopped on to just to complain about the state of the economy. So, as I was saying, after the protest, they began work on the motorway. And different parts of the country, there have been protest. So people are realizing the impact of social media on political accountability. No, so a politician comes out to put a statement. Someone will go and verify and call you out. As good as it sounds, we are catching up. And I think because this generation is tech savvy, they are familiar with the various social media platforms, they are using it to reach out to people and also seek accountability. So it is a step in the right direction. But to say that we cannot be fooled, we should also be conscious of the fact that a lot of things appeal to the eyes, and they are not exactly it.
All right. Yes, your biases. That's also very, very important. So, what's its role in civic and democracy engagement? You see, on social media we say democracy, so anyone can say whatever he wants. But should there be some limitations? Because social media, it gives like free space for whoever wants to say what to say it, with little or less accountability. So what's your take on that?
So, I personally, I've never been one for limiting speech. I've never been one for, I think all forms of censorship are not a great idea for us as we go along. That's essentially how the Ghanaian legal system operates. In our legal system, you're allowed to say anything. The punishment will come after. Won't prevent you from saying it. Say what you want to say, yes. But understand that if your words are injurious either to public health or to the right of another person, so for example, by way of defamation or something, then we can take action against you. If you are inciting violence, we can take action against you. If you are threatening someone, we can take action against you. So I understand fully, because you see, there's a problem we have on social media now where people get paid for engagements. Right. Previously, you would see that brands want to associate with whichever person gets the most interactions with their post. So people would come and post the strangest things that, in all honesty and all sincerity, you should not be posting. Somebody's, and I say this with respect, somebody's inappropriate pictures or videos, then because you want people to interact with it, you just come and post, right? Just so you get the response. And it's even been made worse now that X, as for me, I find it difficult calling it X. But X now pays, if you're a verified user on X and you get high engagement, they pay you for your engagements directly. Now, it's not even brands. So you see that people would be saying the most out-of-pocket things just for the sake of engagement. What this means is that people will be more willing to lie. People will be more willing to say something has been said that has not been said. People will be more, the example of the baseball park I gave, people will be more willing to pull pictures from somewhere and say that it is Ghana. In the same way, and when you add the use of AI and you add the use of modern technologies and the influence of those things, there's a huge danger. But I still don't think that it is in our best interest for us to essentially limit what everybody says. Because today you will support the limitation of this person's rights. Tomorrow it will be you.
Then someone would support
yes. If you read, I'll be a bit legal, but if you read the case of New Patriotic Party and Attorney General on freedom of speech, one of the justices is literally one of my favorite judgments. He says that, look, there was a time when child labor, people who used to advocate against child labor, there was a time when their views were considered to be very fringe because they are children. They should be able to work for us whenever we want. There was a time when people who used to advocate for women, their views were considered to be very fringe.
Yeah,
right?
Our own wives, our own daughters.
Yes,
so
we should use them as we want.
Rights to say anything
Every
about
single right you have today, at some point in society, was very fringe and very strange for people to ask for it. But today you enjoy those rights because of freedom of speech, because people are able to advocate and share. So I do think that, yes, there's an innate danger that comes from allowing everybody to say what they want to say. But it is better for us to allow these things than for us to limit. Because in the end, who decides what to limit? As one. Who decides the extent of the limitation? Who decides how long the limitation should be? All those conversations is very risky, because me, if I'm your president, what I want to limit is you talking against me. You understand? So I do think it's important that, yes, I will admit there are dangers, but I think it's much better for us to allow the free speech. Then where there's a consequence, I think what is more important is that we enforce our systems of accountability. The problem we have with social media now is anonymity. That's the main problem we have. Because if I take my phone, I can download his picture, put his name there and everything and say, I am him, and speak for him. And people, and if you're none the wiser, you won't be able to investigate and find out. So I think we should rather consider investing in accountability and finding the individuals who are doing the wrong thing, so that anonymity does not become a factor for these things, instead of preventing anybody from speaking altogether.
I see.
Yes.
So I think
Thank you.
from you, institutionally, we should make our systems work so that there can be accountability.
Yes.
And on an individual basis, maybe the people should themselves censor themselves what
Yes,
they have to
definitely,
say.
definitely.
I have a constitutional question, or say a legal question. I will come to that. But Islamically, Maulvi Sahab, how do you think, give us an advice as a spiritual person, how do you think our engagements on social media, especially in relating to political matters, how should it be?
Since it's a social issue, let's tackle it from that angle first. Because there was a society, then came religion, then came social media. So social media is now, like I used earlier on, or like I would like to say, is something that was created out of illusion, or let me say delusion in a different form, because we interact, but we don't see ourselves. In a society, physically, we have leaders who sit and then oversee issues. Even in our homes, we have our parents who sit and then address issues. So that kind of system should be interpreted into that same social media we have. Some of us are into groups. We have admin. When you misbehave, they kick you out. Those systems are there. Nonetheless, it's a community, but we are not seeing ourselves. And you can't do anything, but the rules are being applied. So, in this case, when you read more of Islamic politics, they make us understand that the whole concept of politics in Islam is all about the articles of faith. And the first one is Allah. Believe in the book that was sent. Now, when we understand this, it makes us understand that your ability to, let me say, suggest this should be what should be implemented is not there, because what we are following is what someone, Allah Almighty, the Almighty, has brought for us to follow. So therefore, we have to comply by that. So I think if we follow these kind of principles, we'll be able to arrive at a good position, because the Holy Quran makes us understand that فِيهَا يُفْرَقُ كُلُّ أَمْرٍ حَكِيمٍ, that whatever that the Quran dispenses is full of wisdom. So always we'll be on the positive side if we follow the fundamentals of the Holy Quran. If we follow the principles and the dictums that the Holy Quran is giving us, then we'll be able to also move on to the right path, as Allah Almighty has said, the Siratul Mustaqim. So there won't be any problem if we're able to abide by this. Yeah.
All right, thank you very much. I would like to go back to my audience and ask if they have any form of question. You can notify me, and then we'll take your question for our honorable guests to answer for us. But until then, I would ask Lawyer Hadi, sir, please, what are some of the principles that citizens are advised to adhere to maintaining the sanctity of social media in politics?
Yes, I think essentially we'll look at human rights, because social media is an avenue to exercise your rights to freedom of speech. So, and we understand that those rights are not guaranteed, they have limitations. So, and I think my friend mentioned, right? Yes, he mentioned that when it is injurious to another person or public health, so and public interest essentially, when it is in the interest of the public that those things do not come out, then that right will be curtailed. So for a lot of people, they must understand that, yes, you have a right to speak, but if what you are saying is going to create problems, then you don't have to say it, or when you say it, there will be problems. We can refer to some years back where some radio presenters made certain comments, and then they were picked up, and then they were tried in court. There are other people who have also been tried on treason because of certain comments, and the most recent one is the IGP's case, and I think it's still ongoing. Yes, because of certain comments that were made. Now, it led to the suspension of one police officer, and apparently I think he might even lose his job. Because Yes. So I mean that's prejudicial,
yet to
but
be seen.
yes, but he's been suspended, and there's a whole committee hearing on this. This goes to prove that as much as you have the right to say anything, there are so many instances where you come. And I think there's this quote. I don't know how true it is, but it is associated with Idi Amin. That is that. So what? You have the right to freedom of speech, but your freedom after speech is what I cannot guarantee. Like loosely, that's what I mean. The last quote is what I remember, that he cannot guarantee your freedom after speech. So there's something after the speech, and a lot of people, if you look at a lot of these political activists, most of them went to jail because of some of the things they said against successive governments. You look at Nelson Mandela, you look at Kwame Nkrumah, look at JB, like all of these people, they had to fight the system, and they fought it through words, and that caused them to go into prison. Now we have a democracy, we have a platform to see what I mean, I think now it is better. We are not under any strict system where you are restricted. But of course, once you affect other people, particularly spelling false information about people, as you mentioned, defamation, the person will sue you for saying what is not true, and you have to go and defend it. If you cannot defend it, the person will receive money because you've injured the person. And if you've ever seen defamation suits, the figures they quote,
it's huge.
Yes, you don't want to. You know,
They
you
make
don't have
sure
that
you
money.
feel it.
Yes, you don't have to. So I think as far as principles are concerned, we should know that your rights ends where someone's begins. So as you are doing it, someone's rights is also affected. So you need to be empathetic and understand that there are so many characters at play, and you know where to put yours, just to say safe.
I'll hop in a bit again, because you're asking about the duty of the citizen,
Yeah.
right, specifically. I think it's also important to understand that over here we tend to understand democracy in the context of elections, and understanding democracy in the context of the fact that we have institutions that exist. Whether they work or not, they just exist, so we are fine. But a part of democracy as well is accountability. And the Constitution or our laws require us as citizens, as part of our duties, to adhere to democratic principles. One of them, indeed, is accountability. So I will say that for anyone who is listening, if you see on social media that some politician or someone has said that they are building borehole on your street, go to your street and look at it, whether indeed there's a borehole being built there. If it is not, post it online so that we will see. Someone will come and give us artist impression. Post the reality for us to see. You understand? I think it's a very, very important point. It's great to be able to air your views. It's great to be able to say your mind, this doesn't make sense, that doesn't make sense. But it's a completely different, it's a greater power for you to be able to say, no, I'm going to look at what is happening, right? Every time it rains, hashtag Accra floods.
Yeah.
And you will see videos and you see pictures. So I don't think I've ever heard any politician try to say they've solved flooding in Accra, because we can all see it with our eyes all the time, right? In the same way, if there's anything that's being said that is being done in your area, make sure that you try and investigate and find out what the truth of the situation is. And I understand it's extra work for you, but we are talking about duties. It is our duty. I would do it, you do it too. Yes, thank you.
I see. That's one advantage of social media. You can post what's right. You can post what's wrong too. But if you post what's wrong, it can be proven that what you posted was wrong. But sometimes, don't you think that by the time we're able to ascertain the truth of a matter, it would have already had the effect it would?
Well, sometimes.
Yes.
But as I mentioned, look, take an example from the motorway. A few days after the protest, they came to inform the public that plans are there to expand and repair the states of the road. And they had comments. There were pictures to show that there were patches on the road, and that the men were on the ground. They are trying to erect an overhead under bridge close to the East Legon area. So like work is going, and then when you use the road, you can see that there are workers there. Another example is Galamsey. This
A very big
yes,
area you just
this water body, as it Cobra. Yeah. Someone posted a picture of a very clear water body and said that Galamsey has stopped. Yeah, now things have improved. And someone in less than 2 hours, someone posted a video. I'm on the road and posted a video. Like, so he was speaking when he recorded. And I'm using the road and this is the state. So how can you tell us this? In a space of 3 hours, different versions of videos came showing the same place, and they could prove that what the person posted earlier was false.
I think what we should know is that now technology makes almost everything possible. You can create a very, very clear Ankobra River, even just by your phone.
This Palestinian issue.
Okay, yeah.
I mean, there are alleged AI versions of pictures showing the state of affairs from a particular side. When the other side is also posting live videos, you're seeing the things on the ground.
That particular conflict.
And when you even listen to the comments from one side, it's not what is really going on. Because the other side is talking about we fighting with one particular group. Meanwhile, it's like they're attacking the other people.
That particular conflict is a very great example of the power of propaganda and misinformation. And it is also a very great example of why go and read. At least because even if there's propaganda about what is happening now, the past 30 years, they can't give you propaganda about that. You guys just read for yourself, because it saddens me so much whenever people just run with something they've been given. Right? I've said, Hadi is my good friend. I've said a million times that the public statements they will give you, it's very unlikely I'll believe public statements. Because I remember there was a time when a demonstration, this was I think 2020, I think so, yeah, 2019, 2020, the law students demonstration, 2019, to get more people admitted to the law school. We were going to the Flagstaff House. Police turned on us, started spraying us with water, beating people and things of the sort. The official police statement said we had sticks and we had stones we were throwing on police. That was the official police statement that was put online. I was there. So if you say this thing to me, right, and then you, the ordinary person, that's what the police have said. So yeah, they went there with sticks and stones. It doesn't work like that. So I think there's a certain part of the conversation that actually requires you to be able to probe into it and understand for yourself. It's true, you have biases. As for your biases, no matter what you do, you can't remove your biases. We try as much as possible to be objective. That's our goal. But you can never completely remove your bias. I understand that. But at the very least, find out what it is and make your own judgments from that. But you can't just assume that because I support this politician and he has said it, that is the gospel truth.
Now, what is happening in the media? If there is, whether national or not, on the panel, there's a representation
of both, yes,
major political parties.
Polarized.
So the conversation is now about what I did during my time and what you are doing, and we are comparing. When the people, the victims, are the innocent citizens who would have to stand in the queue to vote.
Yes.
So at the end, whose interest are you representing?
When you are dying, you are going to hospital, they don't give you bed, don't ask you for a party color. You will see that the people who have political bias, as for them, whatever they see, they will share straight away. And that's how it is, whether you're opposition, whether you're in power, that's how it is. When you see something that, it's a natural human thing, that we tend to share more what supports our biases. We are less likely to investigate things that we already believe to be true. But I am just asking, I'm pleading, I'm begging, that if indeed we say we are the future generation, as the person said online that cannot be fooled, the future generation that cannot be fooled, then we should be the generation that investigates. That's all.
I think we should be the generation that investigates. We are almost bringing the program to an end. I'll just go over my guests and ask for their last words before we finally bring the curtains down. Movi Sab, I'll start with you.
My last words are that social media is a tool. And I'll always follow what the Promised Messiah, alayhi salatu wasalam, has said, the founder of the Media Jamaat, that when you use the human faculties rightly, you'll be able to get right benefits, positive benefits that would help humanity at large. The same human minds are able to create the social media technology, and it is helping us as mankind. That same human minds are also creating bombs and then a lot of ammunitions which are being used against us as human beings. So when things are being used in the right direction, our faculties are being used right, as he said, al-Islam, then we'll be able to get the right results. But then if we don't do that, and then we end up using it for whatever things that we feel is okay for us at the end of the day, without any guided principle, then we'd fail ourselves and then would end up crying or grieving as a result of that. That's all I have to say.
Thank you very much, Lawyer Hadisa.
So as my senior brother said, social media is a tool, and as a lawyer, I'll look at it from the perspective of accountability. I would encourage people who use social media to speak up, particularly issues in your area. And it is very visible. People will tag their MPs that this is our road. What are you doing about it? So instead of running with information just because it is trending, you need to verify that information. And in the democracy, in the arms of government, the media is seen as the fourth arm of government. With the perspective or with regards to accountability, they are supposed to hold the three arms of government accountable, because the media reports and all of that. So once you are using the media platform, you are also part of that system that is supposed to hold them accountable. So once someone has been elected based on certain promises, and those promises have not been realized, at the very least, remind the person, this is what you said. We should find a way to communicate our ideas without insulting people. And you also be conscious of the laws, particularly defamation, if you want to spread false news.
I think that's important. Okay.
Yes.
Our other Leonard.
I think I would largely repeat what I've said about the fact that if indeed we are not the generation that is fooled, then we need to be the generation that investigates. Social media has incredible potential, in my opinion, both for right and unfortunately for wrong. There's a particular congressman, an American congressman, Representative Jeff Jackson, who sits down and explains the things that happens in Congress to not just the people in his constituency, obviously, because it's TikTok, to everybody. Me, I know things that happen in Congress. I've never even voted in their elections before, right? I do think social media as a tool, it has great potential. In the same way, politicians are paying bots and paying influencer accounts to share information that is for them. In the end, the only real solution is your own ability to investigate, your own ability to be objective, your own ability to think logically. If a politician goes to make a donation, ask yourself that this donation, why are they making the donation? When politicians or when ordinary people are accepting gifts that you think are very stupid, pardon my language, gifts that you think are very silly, ask yourself that why are they accepting it? Is it that somebody is not hungry that they are going to drink yogurt? Why are they accepting the yogurt? Is it that poverty is being weaponized? What is happening that is causing this? You need to have the ability to question things, right? And not just believe every statement that comes as being true. So I will repeat those same words. I think now I'll make that my quote. That if we are going to be the generation that is not easily fooled, then we must be the generation that investigates. Yes.
Okay, so on that note, we would bring the program to an end. But as he said, if we do not want to be the generation that is being fooled, then we should rather learn to investigate, and we shouldn't just take things just as they are, because even though the social media has the potential of being good, it can also be used to do bad. This is Real Talk Africa on MTA International, Ghana. Stay tuned, because we'll bring you some other very interesting programs. Before we meet again, we say that may the peace and blessings of God be on us all.
La ilaha